welcome to another episode of Banking Matters. I'm your host, Ashton Woodling. Joining me today is Tan Bowie. Tan T. Bowie is the current Vice President of Compliance and BSA at F&M Bank, located in Crescent and Edmond, Oklahoma. Tan brings over a decade of banking experience, specializing in the intricate world of regulatory compliance. Certified as a CRCM and CAMS, Tan navigates the art of handling compliance matters, ensuring F&M Bank surpasses all stringent regulatory standards. Tan's commitment lies in fostering a secure and compliant financial environment, navigating the evolving challenges of the industry. Tan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Ashton. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you. Tan, tell me, how did you find yourself into this wild world of banking?
You know, that's a great question, Ashton, leading off, because it's like, for me, it's like stumbling into a maze and then realizing you can find your way out. And that's how I got into it, because when when I was in college, I started off studying finance, but then I discovered the world of regulatory compliance. I was hooked, and I think in order to be a compliance officer or in the thick of compliance, you really have to like and, matter of fact, love what you do. There's just so much to digest. But for me, it's like being I hate this analogy that I'm about to toss out, but it's like being a detective solving crimes, but instead of criminal, you solving financial regulation and making sure that we and banks play by the rules, and also just help banks and navigate through the landscape that is the rules and regulation of banking and financial institutions. So, what short answer is, for me, got into it kind of like just stumble into it, and been here ever since. So
Yeah. So, Tan, we've talked before, and you're a data person, right? You like working
and,
with the data.
mhm.
How does that intersect with your role in compliance?
The- I leveraged my data analytic background so that I could help analyze data for Fanatic, COA, and just general compliance matters. So, for example, leveraging my data expertise, I could able to determine how to change, like a mass change or a group change or a batch change for, like, especially right now where we're doing a lot of HMDA analysis to before we submit the law. So, going
Mhm.
through the law, making sure that the data are clean and consistent. So instead of doing it, we have a system we use here, but instead of leveraging the system, I bring it not only the system, but I use the system, but I couple that with my Excel and data analytic, and so that I could analyze the data and present to the board, present to the executive committee for anything that's even BSA data, but mostly fair lending, HMDA, and COA. And it plays out pretty well. And this way you can do check, double check, quadruple check if you need, and just to ensure that data matches with what you have, and it is clean and it is presentable and ready for submission.
Perfect. Yeah, I totally agree. I'm a data person too, so I like seeing that everything ties out and everything looks good. So, Tan, we said today that we were going to talk about open banking infrastructure. For the
Mhm.
newbies amongst us, both myself and probably some audience members, can you tell me what is this? What is open banking?
Open banking is a concept of Section 33 of the Dodd-Frank Act. It has been sitting or laying dormant for the last 10 plus years. Recently, they reactivated the section, and it is known as the personal financial data right. And the way I put it is like, it gives consumer an easy way to break up with banks, and also an easy way to own your data, your financial data from financial institution. Right now, if you want to see your portfolio, checking, savings, investment, home values, you have to go through so many different apps to see your checking account, your investment account. In the way that the regulation is going, in the future, you can use just one app and you can see everything in that app. So instead of having 6 to 10 different apps that you log into, now you can log into one place that's centralized and you can see everything at a glance. So that's kind of the concept behind open banking, and the regulation should be coming to a head sometime late this year. I think the CFPB has mentioned that. So in the future, certainly every financial institution or banks should be complying with that Section 1033 with the Dodd-Frank Act.
Gotcha. So one place with all of my information. So does that mean if I have accounts at multiple institutions, it'll all be in one location? Am I understanding right?
Yeah, in essence, that is the case. So right now, let's say you want to go checking. I'm just going to take the big boys. So the Bank of America, the Wells Fargo, and the Chase. So if you want to see your Chase checking account, you got to go into their app. You want to go to Wells Fargo, you have to go to their app. You want to see your Chase investment, go to your another app. And so you have 3 different apps already, and you have to remember all the logins, your credentials. So it and now if you want to step away and break up with your banks because they're not providing you with the service, the customer experience that you're looking for, you're still leaving behind your financial information. In the future, if listeners or if you, Ashton, have used Mint, the app in the past, that's kind of what we are going toward. Because Mint has actually been shut down in March, I believe. So Mint, I used Mint in the past, and it's where you can see your entire financial position within just that one app, provided you give them your login for your different channels and different
Of course.
avenue where you collect the data.
So it's all then in one place. So will that one place be owned by a bank, or do you see that owned by a fintech or something else?
Excellent question. That is, I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly the end because it's still in that proposed stage and the comment stage. So it could be just an app that is owned by a financial technology company. And so right now, the talk, a lot of the talk is about security, privacy, and making sure your information are being safeguarded. So there's going to be a lot of different moving pieces to hammer this thing home. It will take, and I hope that we do see the release of the rule this year so that we can get a lot more color, context, and details about what's going to happen.
Sure. So if I, as a consumer, I know this is all hypothetical, bear with me. If I want my the single app and I want all my stuff there, am I telling the bank to send it over to this app, or am I telling the app to go get it from the bank?
My understanding is that it works to an API. So an API is where it basically is a call. And the way I look at the API is like, if you are a server or a waiter, you send your information back to the kitchen, and then the kitchen would make the food and then send it back to you. So that it's a simple idea, but that's how it works. Is that you go to an API, a fintech, and that API go out to these different channels and collect the data and then display it all in this one app so you can see, hey, what's my net worth? Oh, I have my checking account, my investment, my home. Everything else will be in a place that you can see and you can also download the data. You can see how it integrates with different apps or different software. There's still, the CPB is still working on it, and it's still in its infancy, in my opinion. And so we still have a lot of, certainly I do have a lot of learning left with 1033. 1033 is still very new on the horizon, right? It's something that has not, until a few months ago, most people were not aware of 1033. They have heard of 1031, but 1033 is this new kid on the block.
Gotcha. So Tan, what have you been doing then to prepare or educate yourself or get ready for the proposal?
This is one of my chief responsibilities, ensuring that we have the policy, the procedure, and the processes in place to gear up and be ready for the final rule, to comply with the rule. So what I do on my part is well, get back to the basic, is read the rule, right? And digest the rule and in a way that is, and then communicate that to my team in a way that is easily digestible and easily understandable. That means putting a framework in place. So lining up the potential costs and benefits of this particular rule that's coming out. Secondly, put in place a procedure to spell out how we should do things when it comes to a request for your information. Now, it's just, for me, reading, understanding, communicating, and until they release this. And I think every rule book nowadays is like in the thousands of pages, especially with the preamble and the commentary. It is so huge that it really does take a lot of time for you to sit down and really understand what it means and understand the spirit and the intent of the law. So that's, to me, first is to listen, to understand, to communicate, and then to ensure that everyone is buying into this particular regulation. So a lot of moving pieces, a lot of things happening, a flurry of activities happening behind the scenes to gear up for this rule that will come out.
Yeah. So we know what's expected. You said sometime this year, you hope. Have you, at your bank, have you taken steps to start working on policies, procedures, processes, or are you kind of in a holding pattern?
A little bit of both. So a holding pattern when it comes to some major changes, but some of the early, easy, low-hanging fruit, we are getting that done right away. And what that is just make sure that all of our applicable bank personnel are aware of the rule and can constantly keep them in the know, keep them updated with information that is relevant to what they do.
So which teams at the bank then are you having to involve? Like I'm seeing this being an IT thing, but it's a little over my head. So I don't know. I mean, are we having to involve more than just those folks?
So you can look at IT because you do need a mechanic or a framework or a structure that's built to ready to able to deliver the data and package the data to consumer. Secondly, you're going to look at deposit operation. Deposit operation will be an essential player in this game or in this particular field. You look at compliance because my team and I, we provide a lot of information, but not only providing information, we also help train at the front line, the deposit operation to understand what we are providing as well. So IT, deposit operation, and certainly you don't want to leave out the executives and senior management because ultimately they do have oversight on what I do and what we do here at the bank.
Sure. So what guidance are you giving them at this point? Is it just to, hey, be ready, this is coming? Or do you know a little more that you're saying, start taking these specific steps?
Yeah, I don't want, we have limited time, so I don't want to get into the weeds, but yes, that's exactly your point, Ashton, is communicating to the team, letting them know, hey, this is the expectation of the rules. These are my understanding of the rules. But until the final rule comes out, we're gonna hold a little bit here, and we're gonna stay still, wait for the final rule. But at least that initial conversation are taking place. The initial communication, the initial email, the initial meetings, they have already been done. And now we're just laying down the groundwork to get ready for the final rule implementation.
Gotcha. So, just totally your own personal opinion, Tan. Do you think this open banking is going to be great for the United States, or what's your thoughts there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because right now, think about it, Ashton. I'm sure you have many different places you do business with, and it's really a hassle to go to so many different apps, to log in to many different places, to remember your passwords, to remember your logins, remember your username, just a whole plethora of things, right? And so, to me, I am from what I have been a part of, I am completely on board with this role. This is a way, like I said, a way for us to easily break up with financial institutions, not just banks, but financial institutions that do not meet the needs or of your service or products or whatever the case may be. So to answer your question, yeah, absolutely, I'm on board. What if it can streamline what I do, if it can display the transaction activities, my portfolio, my financial, if it all can be done in one place and is secure and safe, why not? I mean, you, if you have the choice to do things easy or as it is today, I'm sure you would want to. I'm sure all people would pick the easier route, right? As long as, again, provided and given that it is safe and secure. So, 100%.
Sure. Yeah, so great for consumers. Do you think, as banks, you keep coming back to that it would be easier for consumers to break up with their banks? Do you think, as banks, then that we need to sort of put customer service more top of mind, or
Yes,
um,
yes, absolutely. To your point, this will banks that can not only increase but gain efficiency and productivity, and obviously ultimately drive values to the bank, will have to focus on customers, will have to be exceptional in delivering a good product, a great service, and couple all of that with a really exceptional customer experience. I see those banks will not only thrive, but also excel in what they do. Because not only that you can easily walk away and get all the information that belongs to you, but now you can easily, in the future, you can easily switch between many different places. I think it is definitely going to drive a lot more enhancement and improvement in the overall customer experience.
good? I mean, I love that idea. It sounds like a lot of work, but overall positive effects at the end, right?
The downside, the other side of the coin is that there's going to be costs associated with the implementation of this. And I think, well, with every rules and regulation, there's always that cost benefit analysis. Now,
Mhm.
whether we like it or not, the rule will be rolling out to everyone. And it's now, I'm trying to work out a way to minimize the costs that associate with the overall implementation and installation of this new rule.
Yeah. So, one last question before we start to wrap up and I ask you my actual final question. But if we're talking about these data exchanges and provision, will there be sort of maybe this is too in the weeds, but will there be like a standard package or format the bank has to put all this in to
Yes.
get it there?
Yeah, most people right now, the way they understand it, and the people that talk to me, ones that make them aware of the rule is that, hey, are they going to give me a USB, a thumb drive, a flash drive, a floppy disk? If you remember back. No, I don't think, because, can you imagine like just giving people, hey, here's all your financial information and personal information on a thumb drive, and you can just take it and go to another bank and upload it? That would be a huge liability, a huge,
Uh-huh.
how it could be stolen, it could be compromised. So none of that. I don't see that happening. But what I do see happening is that it will be packaged in a way that deliver to fintech companies to able to display the data to you on a portal or on a platform that is consumer friendly, easy to navigate, easy to understand, and then you can go through that channel instead of just giving people a physical um, instrument that they can just take it to somewhere else. I don't see that happening, obviously, but I do see that you can go to this particular platform and say, "Hey, Chase, I want to bank with you," and Chase can tap into the platform and just pull your information and say, "Yeah, hey, based on this information, here's what the product and services that we can provide and offer to you." So not necessarily a physical or something that you can tangible and touch, but I think it's be much more subtle and nuanced. So probably a platform that you can, more than likely, a platform that you can just go and grab whatever you need that belongs to you.
And banking of the future.
Banking of the future,
Well,
because we, as you know, well, the last, oh my goodness, the last 20, 30 years have seen an evolution in online proliferation of banking. So this is kind of the direction, the trend to adapt to modern banking, uh, or so-called open banking.
perfect. All right. Well, Tan, this has been great today. Thank you for visiting with me.
My good.
If you, yeah, if you could share one piece of advice with our listeners related to open banking or anything else, what would that advice be?
That's a really good departing thought. My dad often says to me when I was growing up, just that practice makes perfect. But I took that lesson and I say, instead of making perfect, about making progress. And to me, that's very important because I don't. I think perfection is a unrealistic expectation. Um, Now, I don't think anyone that walks on the Earth's surface is perfect, but I could be wrong. But so for me,
Tan, you just had a little baby girl. You know that
oh,
there is someone who's perfect.
yeah, yeah, she is perfect. But for me, it's about progress, Ashton. And as long as I am better today than yesterday. As long as I improve on my knowledge, my capability, and my skill set, as long as I'm marginally just a touch better today than yesterday, I'm happy with that. I can rest easy, knowing that I strive for progress and not so much for perfection. Because you strive for perfection, that could knock your self image, self esteem down if you don't achieve them, right? So to me, progress, and I communicate that to my family, my team, and friends, that hey, don't worry so much about perfection. Root your expectation in progress, and not the other way. So that would be my advice to any aspiring or current compliance personnel or people or officers.
That's perfect advice for life. And like you said, for compliance, we all know that perfection and zero risk is
Oh,
unattainable. So I love that. It's a great
yeah, it's all
message.
about risk mitigation and risk tolerance. What's your appetite for risk, and how you can help the bank grow. And the last thing I want to say to you, Ashton, is people often look at compliance as a cost center, as a cost endeavor. But I don't look at it that way. I look at um, this is my analogy. If you have a fast car and you want to drive that car as fast as possible, because whether you like a Lamborghini, Ferrari, organic, whatever the case may be. Compliance is the brakes or the guardrails. So the faster you want to go, you need a you need a safe. You need to able to brake and able to come to a stop safely, right? So for me, my responsibility is to not to impede growth, but to enhance growth, and that I do it through providing putting in place the guardrail so that we can drive our cars and take this engine for a really good drive.
I love that. That's a great message, Tan. I totally agree. And I am a huge fan of all of your analogies.
Borrow if you will, but they're roommate. They kind of they're bad. I'll say that.
No, they're great. Thank you so much for joining me today. This has been great.
Asher, thanks again for having me, and I appreciate what you guys do at Compliance Alliance, and I appreciate all the helpful advices, and thankfully I have an opportunity with Compliance Alliance, and I can speak more highly of the team.
Perfect. Thank you. For the rest of our listeners, that's Banking Matters.